Right, let's start again. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, up in the north of Wales, there was a farmhouse called Tyddyn Cwtyn y Ci. And in that farmhouse lived a man and his wife. The man was called Sean. Now, Sean is Welsh for John. And his wife was called Bethan. And Sean worked in the fields around the house. And they were very, very poor. They didn't have any money. And their house, well, it was kind of falling down. There was holes in the roof that let the rain come in. And there was holes in the walls that let the wind whistle through. And so they were quite poor. They didn't have a lot of money. Every day, Sean would go into the fields and try to do some farming, try to earn enough money so that they could eat in the evening. The only thing they did have of value was in the garden of the house, was an apple tree. And on that apple tree grew the best apples in the whole of the area. Is one of the apples. What colour is it?
Red.
Red. It's a beautiful red. Lenny, catch. Try it. Try it. How does it taste like?
Good.
Let Elizabeth try it.
Can I try?
I'll get you another one. Here you go. Catch. It's good, isn't it? Lovely, delicious, juicy apples. So every autumn when the apples got really red, people would come from the local farms and they would buy the apples off Sean and Bethan. And with the money, they would fix the holes in the roof where the rain came in and the holes in the walls where the wind whistled through so that they could be warm and dry for the winter. Now, one night, Sean went to sleep, as he always did. He went to sleep. His wife next to him and his little dog at his feet. And during the night he had a dream. When he had a dream he heard a voice, and the voice said, Sean, go to London Bridge. You'll find your fortune there. What's a fortune? Do you know what fortune means?
Money.
Money, a lot of money. Yeah? Sean, go to London Bridge, you'll find your fortune there. He woke up. The voices sounded so real in his dream that he thought there was somebody in the room. But all there was his wife sleeping next to him and his dog snoring at his feet. When he woke up the next morning, he said to his wife, he said, I had a dream. I had this wonderful dream. And I heard a voice and it told me to go to London Bridge and I would find my fortune. Shall I go? Shall I go to London Bridge? And his wife said, no. Go into the fields, make some money so we can eat tonight. And so Sean went into the fields, he worked all day, he got his pay, he bought some food so that they could have some soup. He ate his soup and he went to bed. After he went to bed, he went to sleep. When he went to sleep, he had a dream. The dream, he heard a voice, and the voice said, Sean, go to London Bridge, you'll find your fortune there. Sean, go to London Bridge, you'll find your fortune there. He woke up. The voice had sounded so real that he thought there was somebody in the room with him. But all there was his wife sleeping next to him and the dog sleeping in his feet. He went back to sleep, and when he woke up the next morning, he said to his wife, he said, oh, Bethan, I had the same dream. I've had the same dream. Shall I go to London? Shall I look for our fortune? And she said, no, don't be silly. It's just a dream. Go into the fields, earn some money so we can eat tonight. So off he went into the fields. He worked hard all day. He got some money, bought some food. They had their dinner. They had some soup. After dinner, they went to bed. When he went to bed, he went to sleep. When he went to sleep, he had a dream. The same dream. He heard the same voice. The voice said, Sean, go to London Bridge. You'll find your fortune there. Sean, go to London Bridge. You'll find your fortune there. Sean, go to London Bridge. You'll find your fortune there. He woke up. The voice had seemed so real that he thought there was somebody in the room with him, but all there was his wife sleeping next to him and his dog sleeping at his feet. When he woke up the next morning, he said to his wife, I've had the same dream, shall I go to London? And she said no, and he said, I'm going.
Oh.
So she said, well, if you're going, let me make you a sandwich. So she made him a sandwich, and off he went with his little dog, and they walked all the way to London. It's a long way to walk to London. It took a long time. It took 21 days to walk to London. 21 days. Every day he walked a little more, and at night he would sleep under a tree, and his little dog would chase the rabbits in the fields. And then he'd walk again the next day. He'd beg some food from the different villages, maybe do some work on the way so he could get some food, and then sleep under a tree with his little dog chasing rabbits in the field. Eventually he got to London. Have you been to London? Yeah. It's horrible, isn't it? I hate it. Oh, smelly. Back then it was even worse. He was a man from a small village in Wales. Now he was in this big city. There was lots of people from all over the world. Maybe there were people there from Italy, from France, from Japan, from Oman, from Saudi Arabia. Maybe there were people there from Brazil or Colombia, all over the world, trying to sell different things. It was very noisy. Lots of people shouting, come and buy my rugs, come and buy my spices, come and buy... No, lots of noise. And the smell, the smell was rubbish. Because, do you know why? Because we didn't have toilets in those days, did we? So what did people do with their waste? They threw it into the River Thames. And so the River Thames, it smelled. Now, he found London Bridge, and London Bridge in those days. London Bridge isn't that one that opens up, that's Tower Bridge. Yeah? London Bridge these days is just a boring old bridge. But in those days there was all sorts of buildings, and that bridge in Florence, there's all the buildings across it, so it looked a bit like that. All these buildings, lots of people selling stuff. There were so many buildings on the top of London Bridge. Do you know the song? London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. Well, that is because London Bridge did fall down, because there were so many buildings. In the end, it fell into the river. See? That's where the song comes from. So he walked across London Bridge, and he didn't really know what he was looking for. He was just looking for his fortune. And so he walked back and forth across London Bridge looking for his fortune, but he didn't know what does his fortune look like. He walked back and forth and back, just walking up and down looking. And all these people were shouting, come and buy my rugs, come and buy my spices, come and buy my fruit, come and buy my vegetables. It was loud, it was smelly, it was horrible. He kept walking back and forth looking. As night fell, he decided he needed somewhere to sleep, so he went under London Bridge, and by the side of the river, he slept. And his little dog chased rats around the embankment. The next morning he thought, well, I'll give it a few more hours, and then I'll go home. And of course he didn't want to go home, because who was waiting for him at home? His wife. And his wife would be, I told you so. I know, yeah, all that time you wasted. What did you find? Nothing, I told you. No. So he kept walking up and down. And eventually it got to a time where he was tired and he knew that he'd been foolish, so he just sat down. Feeling sorry for himself. And then he heard a voice. And the voice said, stranger, I've watched you. You've walked up and down the bridge, back and forth, all day yesterday, all morning this morning. What are you looking for? Sean looked up and he said, I'm a fool. You see, I had this dream. I had the dream over 3 nights, and when I closed my eyes, I heard the voice. And the voice said, go to London Bridge, you'll find your fortune. And I'm a fool because I followed my dreams and I found nothing. And the man said, one of the shopkeepers said, you are a fool. You are a fool. You shouldn't follow your dreams. Dreams are just dreams. Last night, for example, I had a dream. I dreamt about a farmhouse, and the farmhouse was called something like Tyddyn Cwtyn y Ci, something like that. He said outside this farmhouse there was a tree, and under the tree there was a pot of gold. But I'm not going to go and try and find the farmhouse. It was just a dream. I'd be foolish. he looked down, and the man he was talking to was gone. Because he'd recognised the description in that man's dream. And so he got up and he'd whistle for his dog. I can't whistle. Come on, boy. And they started the journey home. How long did it take them to get from home to London? 21 days. It took them just 14 days to get home. That's how quickly his little legs were moving. When he got home, his wife was waiting.
I told you.
So, where's your fortune? And he said, wait. And he went into the garden and he got his shovel to dig a hole with you. He got to the tree and he started digging, and his wife was going, what on earth are you doing? That's our apple tree. It's the only thing that keeps us. And he kept digging, kept digging. He did listen. And then, boom, his shovel hit something. He cleared away the dirt. He cleared away the mud. And there was a pot, and he pulled the pot out. And his wife now was looking over his shoulder, and he took the lid off the pot, and it was filled with jewels and gems and gold and jewellery and all sorts of riches. He'd found his fortune. And that is the story of Tyddyn Cwtyn y Ci. And if you go to North Wales, you can find that farmhouse, and you can find the apple tree. And it still has wonderful, delicious apples. And next to it is a small hole. That is where the gold is buried. That is my story. And now it is yours. Go off and tell it to other people.
That is true story?
No.
No, not true story, not true legend story, true